Hey guys, I'm Mr. Chewy Side, and here's episode 7, I believe. Driving school, or whatever I call it. And I think it's supposed to be on shifting. Not 100% sure, but that's what we're doing. And this video, let me just get out pit road here. I'm just going to be talking about... Why is everything loud? Anyways, I'm just going to be talking about, I guess, various types of transmissions available on iRacing, at least. Different methods of shifting. To different kinds of gearboxes. Some issues with the clutch deal on iRacing. Not 100% accurate, so yeah. Talk about things, different techniques of shifting, and various crap like that. Like this car. You know, falls under the sequential shifting. It's the Audi R8, you know, LMS GT3. Basically, you see this one is obviously the Blonde Paint series. Why am I driving this at Road America? Well, it's just my test track for today's lesson, I guess. Now, I'm not gonna go into like all the details of each, you know, real world transmission. I'm just going off what I know or don't know, then I'll go from there. But yeah, I have none of the driving aids on, so no auto shifting, no auto blip, none of that bullcrap. Straight up driving. And even though I use buttons to do shifting, most of this can translate to a, you know, sequential stick or a full H pattern deal. I guess. I don't know why you would use a full H pattern on a car like this, but yeah, that's where we're going to start with, the sequential transmissions, which are cars like this, which is the Audi GT3, all the other GT3s. And I guess you go ahead and throw in, I guess, Formula 1 and IndyCar and Formula Renault, I think. I'm not 100% sure on that one. You know, cars where you just press the button and it shifts, stay in the gas. You don't have to worry about nothing. It does everything for you. Pretty much, you just gotta press the button to tell it to shift. Let me get into the braking zone. See, I'm just pressing the button to go down in gear, and that's it. There's no thought to it or nothing. Now, these cars do have clutches, just, well, you know, like a, you know, manually operated clutch, but it's not really used for shifting. You can use it in downshifting because, I don't know, it's just something, but the car's already blipping for you, so there's really no need to do that. See, you can see I'm using the clutch right there. Yeah, that's mainly for taking off pit road and the starting grid. Like right here, you'll see it. iRacing will automatically kick it in. Right there. See, I didn't press nothing. It did it on its own. See the blue? That's the blue marker there on the left versus on my speed and gear. The blue is the clutch. That's me pressing it right there. The gas is green, obviously, and the brake's red. So those are all 3-year pedals, I guess. Now these cars, I'm not 100% sure how they work. I'm guessing the clutch is down on the floor, you know, with the pedals. But in things like Formula 1 and IndyCar, you have the clutch on the steering wheel. It's actually kind of awkward if you think about it, but press the button on the steering wheel, but again, once you're up to speed, it's not important. Let's say you spin out or something. You want to hold it in real life, at least, to keep the thing from stalling. That was me actually doing that there, so. But here on iRacing, that's the one thing I don't like. There is no stalling. You can't turn it on and off like you can in R Factor 2, any other ISI game, or ISI base game, things like Automobilista and all that crap. I don't even know if it's ISI anymore, but they're using a similar engine, so go for it. But that's the one issue, is, I don't know, I heard a lot of people say something about the clutch, you can modulate it, but the shift, you need to push it in all the way, there's no half-assing it, which you can get away with rolling a little bit into the clutch and off in real life, I'm assuming, but Is it healthy for the car? Probably not, but there's just no option in iRacing, and I don't like that. There needs to be a stall feature. It'd be fun, it'd be interesting, but I'm worried about other people stalling on a starting grid that, you know, standing starts. Not my kind of things. Well, that's the one thing with iRacing that I don't like, is their clutch mechanism. But I will say this. I have big stutters there, but iRacing does have the best, I guess, transmission models, if you ask me, in my, I don't know, my opinion. For the fact is, other games won't allow you to shift, you know, unless you use the clutch, or, you know, cars like this will do it anyway, but you know what I mean? Like a stock car, you don't need the clutch for that thing, but they force you, in every other sim I tried, they force you to use the clutch. Except Automobilista, I haven't figured that one out. It's kind of tricky on that sim, how to do it without a clutch, but yeah, they force you to use the clutch, and you don't need to. Watch tons of real-life NASCAR drivers, they won't even look at that pedal, because they don't need it in their cars, except for taking off and, you know, pit road, stop, you know. Some drivers use it to, stabilize the car under braking and downshifting areas. But you don't need it. But a lot of other sims, they force you to use it, or it won't shift, or it'll skip a gear and just stay there, and you can't do nothing about it unless you use the clutch to bring it back to the gear. But I don't know, that's false. I don't really like it. It doesn't allow you the freedom to do what you want to do in the car. But a lot of these transmissions do work the same way in real life. You know, like these sequentials. Just shift, then it'll shift. Downshift, then it'll downshift. And, you know, as long as you blip and bring up RPMs, match them, you can do all that. So I'm going to get out of this car and just explore the other various types of transmissions, which will be, you can see this one here is the sequential. Alright, so this one's a sequential, full-on sequential, don't gotta do anything with the clutch. The next cars will be sequential dog box, which are stuff like the Skip Barber and the Legends Ford, I believe. So stuff like that. And I think the other one would be like a semi-sequential, I guess, which would be something like a V8 supercar. You know, the GT1 cars where you have to blip on downshifts, but it takes care of all the upshifts for you as long as you press the button to tell it to do so. So we'll just go ahead and explore those. Then after that, you have your full-on H-pattern synchronized gearbox, which is something you see in most street cars. And then after that would be an H-pattern dog box transmission, which doesn't have synchros. They have, I guess, dogs, or whatever they're really called, the actual name for them. I don't know, but those allow you to shift without a clutch, without too much effort. So we're going to talk about all those. So I'm going to go ahead and jump over to the Legends for the sequential dog box. Alright, so here we are in the Legends for the roll. Well, actually, I'm going to talk about something here. You can see the clutch is already automatically enabled, but as long as I roll off, it pretty much goes away. But that's just how all the cars are, so you don't have to think about taking off and stalling, like I just mentioned. So let me just drive this car here, and you can see what I'm doing there with the throttle and brake. You can see when I'm going from gear to gear. I'm not on the throttle, but I'm not using the clutch because the little blue bar is not popping up. And you can use the clutch on these, but it's not really important unless you want to prevent wheel lockup under braking. So really don't know how to explain this. Alright, now everything that I do is probably not gonna be exactly how you would in real life, but this is just a demonstration of stuff that you can do on iRacing. But you can see just where I'm hitting the gas while I'm shifting, and that's just mainly to match RPMs. Because if I don't, something like this, see, I'm pressing the button, nothing's happening. I can't shift unless I press the gas to bring the RPM out to let the thing get into gear, I guess. Now, I can't really get the grinding sound to happen while driving, so let me stop here. I say, if you don't do things right, in a real car at least, you'll hear something like this. Or not. Alright, I can't show you in this car, but I will in the cup car when I get to it. Which is the dog box H pattern. So similar transmission to this, even though this is a motorcycle engine in this car, but it don't matter. The transmission we're talking about, and you shift them the same exact way, except with sequential dog boxes, you have the option of only going forward and back a gear, one at a time. You can't go, say, from, let's say in a 4-speed. I've seen guys do this in a NASCAR vehicle. I think it was Marcus Ambrose went from 4th to 2nd in one motion. So he just skips the gate from 3rd and just goes over to the 2nd. So he slows the RPMs way down, like this, and then he just shifts and he's able to go straight to the 2nd gear. Well, with these, you can't do that. You gotta go down to 4th, or from 4th, down to 3rd, down to 2nd. You can't just go from 4th straight to 2nd, so that's really the only difference. You drive them the same way. There's a lever, forward and back. Same way in the Skip Barber. Something like that. I don't really know how these cars work, but similar driving style, I guess. So let me get down into the corner here, and I'll wait till the next straight, and then I'll talk about exactly what I'm doing. But, well, hell, let me demonstrate in this corner here. So, I'm downshifting, I'm going to be on the brakes hard, I'm starting to shift, and then I hit the gas. All at in one fluid motion, I guess. And for upshifting, I'm pressing the button just before I lift, so like that. You can see it shifted right into gear. Now there's another way you can do this, but it's just luck. Just hold down the shift button and wait till it hits the limiter. Like right there. Yeah, I'll just hold down shift button, it didn't do nothing. And once it hit the limiter, it performed a blip on its own because, well, you're hitting the limiter, you don't want to kill the engine, so it automatically blips itself. Well, that's another way you can shift, but it's not really recommended because sometimes it doesn't do it, sometimes it does. This car is actually the best one I've seen so far that allowed me to do that. Except for downshifting. I'm braking, pressing the button, and blipping all at the same time. Or it's very close to each other. But what I'm actually doing first, I'm hitting the brake, like you can see there. I'm pressing the gear like a split second before. In other words, you're pushing forward on the sequential gear stick, I guess. When you push forward, you're downshifting actually, and while you're doing that forward pushing motion, and once it starts to slip in, I guess that's where you give it the throttle blip and bring the RPMs up so you don't wheel hop. Another way to demonstrate this will be in the next corner, I guess, assuming this car cooperates with me. So again, I'm going to show it. Be on the brakes, pressing the gear slightly before I blip, like that. That's just to bring it, I guess, when it slides into the neutral, I guess, a neutral position, which should be in between the, I don't know, center of the lever. I'm not really 100% sure how that works, but I guess once it's in neutral, that's where you're going to be doing blipping to move the RPMs around to the right right range, so the thing will slip in. Now, I guess it'll be a slimmer approach to truck drivers and their floating gears. It's somewhat of a similar approach. I'm not gonna say it's exact, but that's pretty much it. I already showed you what I'm doing for upshifting. I'm just pressing the button slightly before, then lifting. Slightly before, then lifting. You can get away with lifting, then pressing it, but it's a little more jolting, you know. It kind of wants to jolt you around more. So that's pretty much all there is to sequential. We're gonna move on to hell, was it semi-sequential, or I think they are still sequential, but they're more of a, well, think of the Company X-Track, the ones that do those transmissions. That's what they're like. You gotta blip on downshift, but it does it all by itself on upshift. So we're gonna go check out those cars, which are the GT1. Alright, here I am at a Ford GT2 race car. And I know I said GT1s, but the same applies for this car, as well as V8 supercars. You can see I'm just pressing the button, it's shifting for me. So I press the button and it shifts, automatically takes care of, but when I get into this downshifting section, you don't need the clutch all the time, or blipping, I should say. But I had to there to get it to downshift. I was pressing the button the whole time before I finally got it to shift, but That's why you need the blip. Same approach, same exact thing, but we're combining techniques used in the sequential gearbox as well as the sequential dog box. So just similar approach. It's just a little mixture of something. So got a blip, sometimes big, depending on the car. I don't know, I love driving this car. It's probably my favorite car in iRacing. One of my favorites. I'm not gonna say the favorite, but kind of wish we get the new Dominant 4 GTs, but they gotta turn. But you get the point. I'm not gonna go too much into this, and that's pretty much it. You just blip on downshifts the same way I showed you previously, and that's it. And you shift upwards like the regular sequentials in the GT3s. So upshiftings like GT3s, downshiftings like the Skip Barber and all those, the Legends Ford. So you pretty much get the point. So we're gonna move on to the next pattern or type of gearbox, which is the H pattern synchro. So something like the Mazda MX-5. So we'll drive. All right, here we are on the MX-5. I already got rolling. But if you're familiar with the regular car and how to drive a regular stick, then you can drive this no problem. It's a similar way you gotta drive them. Press the clutch, shift, and let off the gas all at the same time, I guess. I don't know why I just blipped there, but I guess that's where I'll talk about something else. I don't know. But push the clutch in, shift, let off the clutch, get back on the gas. I did it really slow there, and probably not the proper way to do it, but yeah. Shift, gear, let off the gas. There you go. And for downshifts, I'm doing what's known as heel and toe, I guess, if you can. Which will be pretty much what you see there going on the side box. I don't know how to explain that while driving, but I will when I get to another straight, I guess. But as I said, this is a lot like your regular street car, which, yeah, you have your synchros inside and as the gears, but you have to sync them. Obviously, the clutch syncs up the RPMs, I guess, in a way, so they'll slide in. But again, you don't need the clutch 100% of the time. It's just really tricky to do. But this puts me to, I guess, another point. There's two types of, I guess, shifters out there. Yeah, your heel and toes, which are known as right foot breakers most of the time, meaning they brake with the right foot, flip the gas with the heel of their foot, and hit the clutch with their left foot under downshifts. Similar approach for upshifting to either way in a car like this. It's just faster to use the clutch no matter what. You can see I'll just downshift here. You see I'm doing the heel toe deal. Kind of. I'll explain that some other time about me, but clutch shift. But I guess I'll show you the left foot braking people like myself, I guess. You can consider it that. And I guess I'll just show a little something interesting here for the shifting. Like right now, I didn't use the clutch at all there, but I was still able to manage to shift it. But here's what happens if I do it too fast. Let me get up to speed here. See, I missed the gear. It didn't shift, so I had to let the RPMs drop to a point where it wanted to pick up the gear. And see, that's the problem with doing it in a regular street car like this, or somewhat of a street car. It's hard. Takes more time, and if you screw up, it's gonna let you know. It's gonna penalize you for screwing up. I don't know about gear grinding is bad in this sim, but it can happen badly. So that's why I don't even take any of this and apply it to any real world application, because you might screw yourself over, and it's not my fault. I'm just saying I'm just using it for like emergencies. So if I forget for some reason something becomes unmapped with the clutch and I can't use it on iRacing, well, no biggie, just have to run through a race without it. And hell, I did my first hour of the Nürburgring 24 like this without the clutch, because it was something I was used to and practicing it, and why not? I was bored, so Damn stutters. It's so bad on here. Look at that. You can see this whole time driving, I'm just using the lift and shift method, I guess, and downshifts too, it'll work as long as you bring the RPMs to the right range. That's the hard part in one of these, because you have to be almost perfect for it to work without missing a gear. In fact, I do it all the time where I forget. Like right there. So let me get on this straight and I'll show you what I'm doing. So let's say I want to go from third to fourth gear, right? Well, what I'm doing is, I wouldn't know how to explain this for people with an actual H pattern in their setup. But for me, I'm using buttons to do the shifting. I'm just pressing the button. Like right there, it really did it all by itself. I didn't really do nothing. But I'm pressing the button, lifting the throttle, and letting the RPM drop. So like right there, I don't know. It's really hard to explain while driving. So if you're using an actual button like I am, just hold down the button until the RPMs drop to a certain point, and then it'll shift, or in this case, so let me hold it down, and it'll shift. It'll let the RPMs drop on its own. So for downshifts, you just press the button, bring up the RPMs, I guess, to the point where it'll go in. That's what I'm doing. I'm just holding down the button until it shifts. So like right here, I usually press the button like that, and if the RPMs drop, then get back on the throttle. It does it all in one smooth motion. It should, in theory. Like right there, I missed because I didn't let them drop enough. So let me just practice a downshift, and I'm doing the similar approach. I'm holding down the button, bring the RPM up to right there. That's pretty much where it wanted to slide in, was around 5,000. Same with third gear, about 5,700 or something like that. So that's what I'm doing. I'm down, letting the RPM drop, getting up on the throttle while shifting, I guess. Now for an H pattern gearbox, I guess, when you're moving from gate to gate, or from best way to explain this would be from third to fourth. When it gets to the neutral position, which is just dead center, that's where you want to let the RPM drop. In the neutral position, if you drop it too much, you might stall. I'm assuming, I don't really know 100% how this works. But you'll see NASCAR drivers do this, and it's just, in cars like this, you're better off just using the clutch. I'm just saying, it's much quicker, even though I screwed up there. Okay, I'm starting to drive like that again. But yeah, that's how it works. When you're in the neutral position, that's when you start messing with the RPMs, and then go into the next gear all in one fluid motion, if you practice it. But now we're going to talk about right foot breakers. And that means you're braking like this, pushing the clutch in and blipping all in one fluid motion. So you're doing all three pedals at once while shifting and turning. So it's a lot of stuff going on. That's pretty much all there is to it in these kind of cars. You'll see a lot of heel towing and stuff like this. Spec Racer Ford, some other street car variants. And that's pretty much it. We're just gonna talk about the last one, and that'll be the Dogbox H pattern, which are similar to this in a way, but much quicker and easier to shift without a clutch. You can do both though, so why not? So if you want to actually learn how to clutchless shift, go to one of them cars actually. Try a NASCAR stock car out, and pretty much all the stock cars. NASCAR truck, NASCAR, the Xfinity, and the NASCAR A car. They all shift this way, so we'll talk about it. Alright, here we are in a cup car. Stock car. I think it's not really made for road racing, but it's fun as hell. But you can see how quick I did that shift. Again, it's a lot like the sequential, except you can skip gears from fourth to second, which I can kind of simulate, but it's not proper. But something like this, I guess. So let the RPM drop. Press the button twice really fast. Nope, that didn't work. Damn it. I used to be able to do it. Not like right here then. Like that. You just do it real fast, and one fluid motion will get you down into second gear from fourth instantly. So that's the main difference. You drive it exactly the same way as I did that Legends Ford, exactly. Lift the shift, blip the downshift. Of course, you can use the clutch, which I don't really bother with these cars because you honestly don't need it. But if you mess up downshifting, this will happen. You can hear that little rumble it did when I went from third to second. I didn't use the clutch, it just went right in. Now there's a few street cars that actually have transmissions like this. I think some Nissan, I think it's one of the R32s, had a gearbox similar to this. R33? I don't know. Someone did a demonstration on it. And I think some Subarus have got some transmissions like this. Not anymore, but they used to. Some used to. So again, problem with doing this without a clutch, you hear that. That right there, a little rumble. It's wheel hop. That means the back wheels are unsettled. They're starting to bounce because the transmission was not properly lined up in RPMs. So it kind of forced its way in. You know what I mean? I don't know. It just shoved its way in there and can cause some damage. And that's why you see some, professional road racers that come over to NASCAR for a special race, like a Watkins Glen or here even, like Boris and Ron Fellows. The drivers like them, they'll still use the clutch on downshifts. For the fact is, it'll prevent wheel hop. Max Papis will, he'll do it too. He actually mentioned it in the video. You can see I'm not getting any wheel hop by doing that. Just the same thing. Heel toe method I showed you in the last clip. So, I don't know. It's up to you how you want to drive these kind of cars. Me, I just blip. Make sure to give it the right amount of blip or you'll get wheel hop. And that's the hard part. And it's really only noticeable under heavy braking. Light braking, not really. Okay, I don't know why I did that there, but yeah, you could hear it. I didn't align the RPMs right. So what I'm doing, pressing the button, lifting, shifting, and you get the point. I already showed you that in the Legends Ford dog box sequential. And the other one that I did before this, but that's it. That's all there is to it. And if you're having trouble, turn on the auto shifting, the auto clutch. Auto blip, take care of that for you. But it's slower if you ask me. I don't know, I just love driving these things around a road course. So you can see how seamlessly it shifts. Really easy. Just lift and shift and it should go right in. Won't stop. Yeah, this thing's hairy. But you get the point. You can just do whatever method works your way. So that'll be pretty much it for this video. I just thought I'd give a general guideline on how to do all this on iRacing. It doesn't work for every other sim, as I said earlier, but it's just nice to know there's some things like this available that you're able to do in real life. You can transfer over to these cars that maybe not every single person knows about. So yeah, this is the last of my weekly videos. So next week there won't be one, but there will be in 2 weeks and every other 2 weeks. So I should say every 2 weeks there'll be a video, I guess, of iRacing, of this whole series here. So yeah. Anyways, Sim Racing Chewy signed. Yeah.